future selves go? How did that? How would your future self say you're doing this week? Let's go first.
I will.
Thank you, Lee. Go for it.
So last week I read both Inner-Critic and Future Self in the workbook. So I did them both last week. So I had the opportunity to name Inner-Critic and then name Future Self, and then with our session. Boy, Future Self was really on board this week. So it was a really good week. I was very productive. I had a lot of chaos, but I was able to manage it and still get the tasks that needed to be done completed.
That's great.
And the Inner-Critic wasn't around as much because I was constantly moving. So it was a good week. Busy.
Love that. Love hearing that. Thanks, Lee. Who's next?
I can go next.
Yeah, go for it.
I actually wanted to piggyback off of what Lee said, because I had read Inner-Critic as well. And I struggled a little with Future Self. And I think it's just because when I used it with my practice client, she was kind of like, oh, but didn't we do this already? Because of a previous exercise. So then I thought to myself, well, maybe let me try the Inner-Critic thing. And that really helped her be able to use the Future Self idea a lot more. And in previous sessions, my practice client, I think, has been the most difficult student that I've ever worked with. Just in the sense that she's different than the kinds of students that I am used to working with. And this is the first time, I think the whole like using her imagination thing, like she came up with her Inner-Critic being like it was a very, very specific kind of character. And I don't know, it kind of took her elsewhere. And I think it was really, really cool to see a tool I want to say like finally work with her, but not that the other ones didn't, but I think this one, she just got so into it, like immediately named the critic, immediately gave her like what she looked like. And she was like I don't remember what those warriors are called, but like a warrior. And it was really, really cool to see. So.
That's great. And what's helpful about a client, whenever a client has a moment like that, we're like, wow, this exercise really made a difference to me, or this exercise really helped, is it's so much easier for like your client's bought in now. So any other exercise that you present, she's just going to jump in and say, yes, like, let's do it. You just want to give them that one magic experience on a coaching call. It makes it a lot easier for them to experience more of it later. Congratulations, Christina. It's fun. Who's next? Go for it, Logan Essen. And I was looking at a map of where you live the other day. It literally is in the middle of an ocean. Like, you live in the middle of the Indian Ocean.
You hear me?
Yes.
Okay. You've got a glimpse of the island, how it is. Okay. If you Google it, you will get it.
It's beautiful.
Very beautiful island, paradise. Even Mark Twain came here when he was going to India, and he said that God created, when he came here, he said that God created paradise after looking at the island. And so, yes. Just to tell you that for the future self, I had a glimpse of the future self, because last week I've been about 4 days in a hotel in the north of Mauritius. My wife had her birthday there. And the same thing that I was describing last week, we got the place. I had a garden view, the same place, almost the same place. I was with my son, my wife, but not yet grandchildren, all that. But it was very good. The Inner-Critic was left on the road, and it was a very positive 4 days. The sea, the sand, and a very good positive. This is what
so makes me so happy. I think what makes me the
Yes.
happiest is that knowing that when you're having a peak experience, like in the moment, like the real-time realization that yes, that having the experience that I planned, that only just accelerates the cycle. You know, it just
Yes.
completely accelerates that gratitude cycle. You know?
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear Logadessen. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Next.
I can go next.
Go for it, Bridget. Yes.
So I think the experience of raising a child for the first time, your critic can come out a lot. So I think the past week especially has been balancing kind of identifying the inner critic and putting it to rest, and then also trying to channel the future self. So I've gotten, I started writing again on my dissertation, even though I'm exhausted. Like you were saying, go back and read it the next day. A lot of it doesn't make sense. But anytime you kind of go back and judge yourself, you're like, you know what, I'm making progress. Little by little, you're kind of reaching your future self. So that's been my two of those.
Thanks, Bridget. Who's next?
I'll go ahead and go. So just the nature of where I work, oftentimes students come to us with their problems, and it's so easy to get lost in like the negativity and the muck and whatnot. So what I found working last week with the future self, it evoked just a natural positive vibe with each student that I work with, and I think that it almost resonated with me as well, and it allowed me to be more positive. So working with the students, it was just so much more positive than weeks before. So I really enjoyed that, and the students themselves liked it as well. So that's what I noticed.
Thanks, Scott. Love that. Tracy?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, my future self got choked out with the inner critic. Hard. Probably about 15 students, and I encourage them to be positive in terms of projecting themselves into the future after graduation, because we're having graduate commencement in a week. And those students that didn't have a plan are the ones that have flooded my office. And being positive for them, I just kept, and so it was a wrestle. But I do agree with what Scott was saying. The more you think positively about the future, the more positive you feel. I could sense that from the students.
Yes.
It was just for me that I was just getting choked out, but I was trying to display something positive for them. And I think they all left happy. I tried to assist them as best I could.
Totally. Thanks, Tracy. Yes, there absolutely is a biological, neurological underpinning of when you are in gratitude, when you evoke a positive future vision, you literally, like, it's like taking that part of your brain to the gym, and it works it out. And it's easier to then, your mind will look and find more things to be grateful for and to be positive about if you practice it. The study that was done, in the study, they had people write letters of gratitude. You didn't have to send the letters, but they wrote letters of things that you were grateful for to 3 people. And then even 2 months later, they did the same imaging studies on the brain, and they found that the people who wrote the letters, the parts of the brain associated with gratitude, were still more active than those people who did not write the letters. That's incredible. So my wife, the other day, she did this thing. She's like, "Hey, I did a gratitude scan I was like, what? What's a gratitude scan? Like, that sounds so coachy. And basically she's like, oh yeah, it's like when you go through every part of your body and you just go like body part by body part, like expressing gratitude for it, starting with your toes. And I was like, how cool is that, right? So I don't know. I could see my daughters getting really into gratitude scans. But yeah, it's true. Like the more you get into gratitude, and future self stuff, the easier it is to stay in there. Beth, how are you doing? What would your future self say?
I've been struggling with future self a little bit, but it's good because it's made me think about it. And, I think about the future, but I think about it in a way that always keeps it in the future. So I'm trying to make it more accessible where it's like a future that's attainable. So it's like I'm reaching for a goal, but it's still believable enough that I can actually reach it. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So that's sort of what I've been thinking about this week.
You need to go buy some future self shoes, Beth. Shoes that your future self would wear and walk around for an hour. Yeah.
I like that.
Your coaching homework.
Okay.
Joan. Thanks, Beth.
All right. So it was interesting. I teach an online class for my TRIO. It's called TRIO Support Strategies. And the last week of the quarter, I have students write a letter to their future self. Yep. And I have it set that it has to be a year from now. And it was different to kind of look through those letters with a different lens than I had in the past. And, it's really a powerful tool. It really is. And I was amazed at the detail students went into about where they really see themselves. And, it makes me want to write one. But, yeah, it's one of my favorite assignments. And then we also do another letter. It's kind of a letter in time of crisis to read to your future self. Should your future self find yourself discouraged or in crisis, it's kind of open in case of emergency. So that one does have a lot of elements of gratitude and also identifies support systems, people that you can turn to when you are feeling less than grateful in your life. So anyway, I appreciated the strange coincidence.
Great. That's fun. You get to experience it. So these are people in the present day writing letters to their future selves in the future.
Yes, they're writing where they're going to be a year from now and how they've met their goals. There's some criteria within the letter that needs to be contained, but of course they can, do whatever they want and go as far as they want. And every letter I've read has been positive. I haven't had anyone say, my life is crap.
That's nice.
I'm not in school anymore. No, it's a really nice exercise because it doesn't cost you anything.
No. And time travel goes both ways. So you can do present self to the future, conversation, and then vice versa.
Yeah, I think everyone wants to talk to their future self. So
I think George Carlin has a lovely piece on that too, where if someone said, oh yeah, here's a picture of you when you were a kid, you're like, oh yeah, whatever. But if someone showed you a picture like, hey, this is you 10 years from now, you're like, hey, give me that picture. Let me see that thing, right? Let me see what that. So, you never know. Brian, how are you?
I was going to say, to piggyback on what Joan just said, it's really fascinating what you said there, that none of them and their future selves are saying, I'm quitting. So they don't want to be there. But oftentimes when a student does drop out, they say, well, I didn't want to be a part of it. Or I did, I've been wanting to quit. It really seems like that future self is really powerful. If they can just listen to it more, I hope it goes well. And I think were you going to say something, Jen?
I was just going to say it's almost like the design, in their minds, they are designing their future. Mm-hmm. And that is so powerful because you can leave your present life and go to the future, the time travel thing.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like these past couple months have been a bit of a slowing down for me in some of my work. And I feel like these past 2 weeks have been a reset. And I've appreciated what the future self contributed from this last session. And it was also fun looking at the property and talking with Nikki, my wife, about my future self. Even though I was holding the audio, I was trying to visualize as much as I could. And when I was imagining being there, looking at the house, I noticed all the trees all growing up, and we were talking about it. It was just a lovely experience, spending time discussing our future together in light of that. So good on both sides, professionally and family-wise.
So you had a future self date?
Kind of, yeah.
Your future self having a little future self date.
Yeah.
It's lovely. Love that.
It's better than that one time, I think it was one of the trainings last year, where one of the guys said that his wife's future self said that he better do what she asked him to, or he wouldn't have a future self, or something like that.
Sometimes my wife's future self will talk to my future self. She's like, my future self is having a conversation with your future self right now. Oh, really? It's fantastic. It's fun. Two things. First, we are going to have academic life coaching in conjunction with the larger coach training EDU family. We're throwing a virtual party as if it's 2020, meaning that in the first week in January, we're going to hold like a little, mini Zoom session. Probably go for like an hour. And the idea is you show up as if you are, instead of being 2017, this is the year 2020, and you have to be in character in future self, 3-year future self character for the entire hour. You can't break as if you party as if it's 2020. So we'll split. It will be monitored. I'll have a couple. Brian, you didn't know this yet, but you have to show up and help monitor some of the breakout sessions. But we'll throw a little party, an as if party, and we'll see. So there'll be an invitation coming your way, and if you don't get one, that means you're not on the newsletter list, and you need to be on the newsletter list. So we'll make that happen. The second thing is, I don't know if I shared with this group yet, but have I told you about we're thinking about moving to Hood River this summer? No. So we were thinking about moving to Hood River, which is about 45 minutes east of Portland in the Columbia River Gorge. Maybe the second most beautiful place on the planet after where Logan Desson lives. And it really is gorgeous. But before we make that move, we're thinking about getting an Airstream and traveling the country for a year. Just because a lot of the work I do is virtual and we can. And so if you're in Canada or the US, we're putting our tour dates together, and we're going to try to see as many people as we can, stop by colleges and universities, just because we can. And it's been a dream that my wife has had for a while. And if it works out well, then in a year or two, I really want to do Europe and then Asia in the same way. But we'll see, right? We'll see. One continent at a time. We're going to start in our home turf. Yeah, so those are the two fun things. My future self, I think pretty happy with the way things are going. It's challenging, it really is. Running an organization like this there's a lot of stuff that comes up, and it's also incredible when you start, like there are certain elements that make it feel more future self, like. And I know it sounds crazy, but clothing and shoes and stuff like that, like I'm serious. Like if you don't have a future self outfit, you are missing out. Like you need to have an outfit. Like, yeah, my future self will wear this. That's at the as if party. Yeah. At least from the waist up, at least look future self like the way stuff. I think what else? All right, so enough future self things. Inner critic, questions, thoughts, comments on inner critic. My inner critic was chatty today. It was really chatty.
I had a comment about the inner critic.
Mm-hmm.
So in therapy, a lot of what we talk about is like negative self-talk,
Mm-hmm.
but I really, really like that this makes it like it's not you, it's someone else that's saying these things. And I think it makes it not easier to kind of ignore, but easier to personify those thoughts as being external. So there's these irrational thoughts, and it's not I'm irrational or I'm crazy for having these thoughts. It's this guy over here is giving me a hard time. And I don't know, I think it's a really fresh way of looking at it. I like it a lot. I think it kind of makes it seem like that there's not something wrong with you. It's just how you're dealing with these other thoughts that are coming up from the outside perspective, from an outside perspective.
Totally. Yes. This combined with all the other tools that you're learning, I mean, this is a crazy toolbox, isn't it? Like there are a lot of pieces that you can put in place. I think the personification of this, making it different and making it separate, is helpful in helping clients get to a certain level of being comfortable with it. And then once they're comfortable with it, then you can ask, okay, so now how do you want to like reassimilate, or how do you want to use this inner critic? It used to be fashionable in the coaching world to banish these guys, to like just go away. But now it's more like, okay, so let's give the inner critic a new assignment, because we'll recognize that this is a part of you, and as a part of you, there's probably a little tiny bit of usefulness in the message. You just have to reconfigure that usefulness. Yeah. So I'm mountain biking. It's the rainy season, so I don't really get out that much. But there is an indoor bike park, basically, and I've been going to a couple times a week. And it's so fascinating to hear what some of the people who are on the course, like the things that they say to themselves when they're on the course, right? And it's the idea of the need for people to prove themselves, to prove that they have talent, so that they can feel that it's like they're good or that it's worth it, is really intense. And I think a lot of the inner critic comes from having a fixed mindset of thinking, I have a fixed amount of talent, I need to prove this talent, and so I can't take risks. I don't want to fall. I don't want to look stupid. I don't want to try something out. So it limits people. It really, truly limits people. Whereas the opposite, right, of this in dealing with inner critics is, I don't need to prove myself right now. I simply need to work on the stamina to keep putting in the time. And if I keep putting in the time, then I'm going to get get the result I want to get. I did this on, was it Friday? I was trying to ride, I'm trying to learn how to ride backwards, because it looks super cool, right? Like when you do 180 and you can ride backwards, and that's so cool. It's so awesome. I can't wait to do that, right? Do a jump, hit a 180, go down the other way, or it's going to happen, right? So I'm really, really trying hard. So I'm employing this on Friday, and I thought, okay, so let me just practice reps, see if I can practice riding backwards for 30 minutes. That was my goal, to see if I just again and again and again, like repetition for 30 minutes. So I got about halfway there and my legs were screaming. They're like, this is, because I'm using all these different muscles, like this is no good. So I take a little break. I'm thinking, all right, this is just mental. Like my inner critic's piping up, like whatever, right? So I do another 15 minutes, I'm done. Go home that night, I can't even walk up the stairs. Like I told my wife, I said, I don't know how I can like walk up the stairs. Like my legs are literally like they're just shattered, right? So I was thinking about this, and there is value to listening to your inner critic, or at least to know the limits of. So there's value, right? There's a value, but it's not to the point where you want that to be the primary voice that you listen to, or the voice that makes the most, or that has the largest voice. Because by Saturday, Sunday, I started feeling good again. I can't wait to get, back at it tomorrow, and it's going to be amazing. I know I'm going to rock it just because I put all that time in. And that's the difference. Is it's no longer, am I good enough? That's not the question. The question is, do you have the stamina to put the time in? That's the real question. The good enough question, that's limiting belief. That's fixed mindset stuff. Who cares? That's irrelevant. But when you start asking yourself, do I have the ability to put the energy, stamina, time into it? I think you start getting better answers that really help, like answers that really truly make a difference. Because now all of a sudden you're looking at how can I create a system? Is 30 minutes learning how to ride backwards sustainable? Not really. I should maybe stop at 20 minutes. Right? So when I go back, I'll just do 20 minutes because I literally couldn't ride a bike for 3 days. All right, demo. Let's do a demo, Inner-Critic. Does someone want to try it? Some brave soul just want to jump in and get an extra practice rep? I will heavily guide this if you want. Someone feeling like, yeah, I got this. Listen to Mr. Pillow. That's an interesting inner critic. And sometimes clients will have like a positive inner critic like that, like Alex, like his, Mr. Pillow. It's an inner critic that says, no, it's okay. Everything will be fine. Don't worry about it. But then people listen to that and they chill out, and the next thing you know, they didn't start soon enough, and then they freak out. That was Alex's little critic. All right, I'll do the demo then, and I will pick a practice partner by. Okay, perfect. All right. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to have 3 groups of 3, okay? But we'll do some groups of 3, and they're very fun, but you have to solemnly swear that as an observer, you will be an observer. No 2 people coaching 1 person. It's like the Marauder's map in Harry Potter. I solemnly swear I'm up to no good, right? I solemnly swear as an observer, I will be quiet. All right? And I will use my phone as a timer so everyone gets an equal share of being a coaching client when we do groups of 3. All right, so but before we jump off and do that, does someone want to be a practice client? I want to close the door here. Little Julian is having a conversation, a witching hour conversation with his mom. That sounds lovely. We'll close the door here. I got a new microphone. Did I try this out last week? You hear it? All right, good. Beth, Joan, or Scott, who wants to jump in? All of you are in breakout room 1. Who would like to be a practice? You get double. You're going to have two inner critics identified today. Double the value.
Sorry, my inner critic is saying don't do it.
Yes. That's exactly why we're going to do this, huh, Joan?
All right. So you're going to heavily coach me? I'm coaching you. Do you
want to coach me? Yes.
No, I thought you were going to coach me. Hang on, let me get this clear.
Yes, that is what we're doing.
Honestly, the inner critic that I hear is my mother's voice, and I can't dehumanize that. So.
We're not dehumanizing it. We are. Well, let's go with it. This comes up. This is actually really perfect, right? Because it does come up sometimes that we hear a mama's voice, or we hear a friend's voice, or if you're working with a student, a teacher's voice or parent. Yeah, you don't want to dehumanize it. Nor do you want them to name their humor critic. Nor do you want to name their inner critic after a human being, or themselves, or a friend. Joan, I'll coach you on this. You'll see what I'm talking about.
All right.
How I deal with this, and then we can play. Maybe do another demo. Someone else wants to, or we'll see.
Okay.
So, Joan, when things aren't going well, what kinds of things do you hear yourself saying to yourself?
Hang on. I'm sorry. Someone just came in and I got to shut the door. The dogs are going nuts. Sorry. Be right back.
That is totally perfect. Everyone's being really quiet because they don't want to be like, oh, John's not here. I'll be the next client. Look away and be quiet.
All right. So what do I hear myself saying is, I knew that was going to happen. Why did I not prepare myself better?
And people who don't prepare themselves, what kind of?
Yes, you should have known better.
Should have known better.
Known that was going to happen.
And what are your thoughts about people who don't prepare themselves? Yeah.
Well, there's a lot because my Girl Scout years, the motto was be prepared. So, and I think too with my parents, both like were World War II survivors. It's if you weren't prepared, you were going to die. So preparation was everything.
We got right down to the bottom, didn't we?
That's the bottom line. Yeah. So.
I'll put the trainer hat back on for just a second. Usually the bottom of the inner critic barrel is I am going to die does come up, not often, but every now and then. Most often is I am not good enough, or there's something wrong with me, is generally the crystallization of this message. Coach hat back on. Joan, what's it like to say that out loud? Curious.
It's something I've dealt with my whole life, so it's not anything new or earth-shattering. It's just a fact.
What's the fact part?
That lack of preparation leads to maybe poor decision-making and dire consequences. So lock the door. I don't know. Overstudy, save, don't trust anyone. It's a lot of, that inner critic is giant.
Comes up, huh?
Yeah.
What would you like to do with this message? It's all going to be okay. It'll be all right. No matter what you do, it's going to be okay. So you want to dismiss it?
I do. I want to just disregard it.
Okay.
Push delete.
All right, let's do it. So out of this, we'll have a new way of dealing with this inner critic. All right, let's jump in. So if this inner critic were a cute little cartoony character saying the same things, what kind of character would you create?
See, it would be, I don't know, that's a tough one. It would be almost like a caricature of that keep calm and carry on thing. Almost like it would be a two-dimensional poster or something. I don't think it would even be like capable of speech anymore. I just like to see it like out of the corner of my eye, you know, a little postage stamp in the corner of the room maybe. But full well knowing what it says. Just
Perfect.
not give it the full poster size.
So a little tiny two-dimensional poster.
Yeah.
And what does it say on the poster?
It basically says keep calm and carry on.
And so let's imagine that little poster sitting over there in the corner.
All right.
What's it doing?
It's just sitting there, flashing.
Flashing.
Like a little neon.
And what is it currently saying?
Just keep calm, carry on.
What would you like to say to it?
I know. Duh, leave me alone. Got it.
What's the cost of this inner critic?
You know, it's probably limiting my adventurousness. Maybe costing some experiences that I could have that I probably don't do because of the I don't know, the mindset or the brakes that this thing puts on, or I put on because of it. You know, more of the right lane instead of the left lane driving.
What's its response? What does it say to that?
I don't know. It's almost neutral or I don't know. You know, it's almost like now I can see there's so many riffs on that keep calm. It's like keep calm and chive on, or keep calm and, you know, I mean, it could be a different part, a different second part.
We don't want to change it just yet.
Okay.
But more just let it be in its full glory of negativity.
Huh.
And then we'll deal with it next.
All right.
If it were going full-throated negative, what would it be saying right now?
Oh, well, then it would be saying, I think it would progress I mean, this sounds kind of a weird progression from you could die to what you were saying before, that you're not good enough, or you're not capable, or you don't deserve it. Or there's a war on. You can't, you know, you gotta ration or whatever. I think that's part of it too. It's the post-war rationing mentality.
Yeah, you gotta make it through.
Yeah, you're lucky to be alive. I don't know. That might be the other part of it too. That part of gratitude is a different kind of gratitude than I think that you were talking to. It's almost just
little dash of guilt in there.
Oh yeah, the survivor's guilt, I think,
yeah.
too. So it could be, you know, hey, assimilate. It's not the war anymore. I don't know. It's been a long time. But there is that kind of, and I've explored this with my brothers and sisters as well. So, and some of them have really overcome it. Some, you know, some have become entrepreneurs, and the others of us have become more of the caregiver, nonprofit types. So, I don't know, John, it's pretty complicated here.
What's complicated? What's getting there?
It was so much easier when it was just, you could be dead, so.
It's gaining some ripples in the water.
Yeah.
If you were to give this Inner-Critic a new job description, like, hey, here are your new marching orders, what would you give it?
Observe and report.
Okay. Observe what?
Just observe what you see and report. But no subjectivity. Maybe objective reporting.
And what would you like to do, and what would you like to design, like the nature of the report being?
I don't know, maybe kind of like a weather report. You know, pressure goes up, what's the temperature? Maybe more of a past history than trying to predict a future.
And what's the Inner-Critic say to that?
I think the Inner-Critic can probably work with that. That the job is not to predict what's going to happen, but more just report what has happened as a way of...
So what do you mean by like report what has happened?
Well, I don't know if like, there's like the forecasting of weather, and then there's the reporting of weather. So just, what was the temperature an hour ago? You know, what was the air pressure an hour ago? Versus, there's a storm coming, batten down the hatches, you know. Worst storm of the century.
And what's the benefit of the report? I'm curious, like, why not just say go away? Like, why get a report from this negative?
I don't know. To me, collecting information is important.
Okay.
It's almost like a historian part of me.
Okay.
Kind of like to see where I was.
If this Inner-Critic were to evolve, like, let's say retire and go on vacation, what would you see the natural, and evolve in a positive way, what would you see that the natural positive evolution of this Inner-Critic?
I don't know. That's a tough question. So evolving from the original to something different, or a smaller version, or...
I'm just kind of curious because it seems like the critic is already evolving from like negative billboard to almost like historian, or like it's becoming outdated, like known that it's outdated.
Right. Well, it could become a museum piece, I guess.
I love it. Not to vote. I should say it. Don't vote on your client's stuff, but I do like that one. That's fun. Where in the museum do you want to put it?
The archives.
Okay. So not even on public display. Like you have to get like permission to go see it. Yeah.
You have to have security clearance to go see it.
You got to go with your future self. You got to see this thing. Inner-Critic. What does Inner-Critic, or what name? Yeah, what name we're going to give this guy even?
I don't know. Something vintage. The vintage self? I don't know. I'm not sure.
I like the word signy came to my mind.
What did?
Signy.
Signy.
Negative signy.
That sounds like a math symbol.
Couldn't do the signy.
Signy.
The vintage sign. Yeah.
Vinny. We'll call it Vinny.
That works. Human names are a little tricky, but it's a nickname me enough. We'll go with Vinny.
Okay.
So Vinny is put away in the archives of the Art Museum. What's Vinny have to say about being archived away?
I think Vinny's happy to be with all the other Vinnies. All the Vinnies of my brothers and sisters that were able to let go of the inner critic.
It's retired.
It is. It's assisted living.
Assisted living for archived art pieces. Perfect. And your future self, what does your future self have to say about this?
I think my future self is delighting in the fact that there's no more brakes, that it's more of a throttle, moving forward, really moving forward, and not keeping so calm. That's got to be the least favorite compliment I get from people is, "Oh, you're so calm." Yeah.
So what's the action step that you want to design this next week to prove or to test out Vinny's being archived?
Well, let's see. Probably head up skiing early. Because I usually don't ski till after Christmas, so I think a week from now I will have gone up to the mountain. I really don't have any reason not to. There's snow. So that will be my action step.
So go to the mountain, play in the snow. And what's something that you've been wanting to do that you might not have done before?
Well, definitely go skiing before the new year. I haven't done that in ages. I don't know, maybe go to the museum in Seattle and look for Vinny. I don't know.
I want to push just a little bit, John, just because it's fun.
Okay.
The skiing thing. What's the, what would be like an experiment that Vinny would like love to come out in, but like that would put you face to face with Vinny and then have to like have you tell Vinny to go back to the archive?
Oh man. I don't know, go 2 days worth of skiing? 2 days in a row of skiing? I haven't done that in forever.
Yeah, 2 days of skiing. That's it.
All right.
Practice, Vinny. Thank you, Joan.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone. And sorry about the little baby, Julian. He's having a hard time.
Oh.
Haven't heard much.
Oh, really?
Fine. Don't worry about it, John.
My end. I can hear him.
Yeah, that's how it is most of the
It's
time.
that parent's ear, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
my
why
child. Everyone else is like, hey, who cares?
Yeah. And think about it. Your mic is right here on your chest. So the stuff behind you, we can't pick up as well.
Yeah. I like this. I was thinking about getting these. I was thinking about getting these for all the trainers. Like, so we all uniform with like our little lapel mics. It'd be really sweet. Wouldn't it? It's the EDU uniform. I was telling my wife, anytime you put a lapel mic on, doesn't matter what else you're wearing, you suddenly look official. So I took all these selfies with myself wearing a hoodie with a lapel mic. It's true. You do. You look official when you have a lapel mic on. Try it. Try it at home. Joan, that was lovely. That was a really, really good clienting on your end. And
Well, thanks.
that was fun. I'm excited for you to test out, getting faced 2 days and see what happens.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge.
Other coaches, what did you see? And especially given Joan and the mom voice thing, how did I deal with that? How did I address that? What did I do?
It was like you were patient with her. You weren't trying to push her any further than she was willing to go. And you just kind of let her I guess, mellow in the mood. So wherever she was going, you were there with her, but you weren't kind of pushing her forward.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then dealing with the mom thing, how did I deal with it?
That was pretty direct. Kind of shut it down.
At the beginning, right? We should
At the
talk
very
about
beginning.
it. Yeah, at the very beginning.
Yep.
And then when we got into the coaching, right? It
You
didn't
just
come up.
asked the question.
Yeah. I mean, I trusted that
Yep.
Joan would take care of it 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And if she needed to, it would come up.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you help clients. I don't have to caretake. I don't have to be like, oh, doing that thing. No. I trust Joan 100% that she's going to come up with the inner critic that she needs to come up with. And it will come up if it needs to come up. That's how you coach the client, not the problem. Vinny as a name, I'll let that one go. Mostly because it's a nickname from Vintage, not from Vincent. But that I think, Joan, that's probably as borderline name of a person that I would ever allow. But I think it's kind of funny anyway. Vintage Vinny. We got an action step, named it action step. Yeah, it's pretty solid. So what else does everyone see? Excited to go to banish our own inner critics here. Have a name for it, a fun little nickname. We've had a little bit of a conversation, not much of a conversation. Sometimes these inner critics are really mean and chatty. Jones was actually not that chatty. It's kind of like I said my piece and I'm done. Come out. All right. Brian, I'm going to hand the reins over to you as the